Have you ever heard a story that just felt wrong? Like deeply unfair? Well, Jesus told one of those. A story that honestly would make you pretty mad if you heard it for the first time. And that, as we're about to see, is the whole point.
All right, so Jesus kicks things off by saying, the kingdom of heaven is like. Now, whenever he starts a story like that, you know he's not just telling a tale. He's painting a picture to totally upend our ideas about how his kingdom works, especially when we start talking about what people deserve.
And boom, here it is, the big complaint. You can almost hear the frustration in their voices, right? These guys who've been sweating it out all day long under that scorching sun. They watch the new guys, the ones who just showed up, get the exact same pay. And they are not happy about it. This is really the heart of the conflict in the whole story. Okay, let's just break this down. Take a look at the timeline. You've got guys starting at the crack of dawn, 6 a.m. Then more get hired throughout the day. And then, get this, a final group shows up at 5 p.m. They work for what, maybe an hour? And when it's payday, everyone gets the same amount. Everyone. You can just feel the injustice simmering when you see it laid out like this.
Now here's a super important detail we can't miss. The pay was 1 denarius. And that wasn't just some random number pulled out of a hat. A denarius was the standard fair wage for a full day of labor back then. So, and this is the key, the workers who were there from the beginning, they weren't cheated, not at all. They agreed on a price, and that's exactly what they got. So, what's the big deal? No harm, no foul, right? So, this is the big question, the puzzle at the center of it all. Why on earth would Jesus tell a story about God's kingdom that seems to, celebrate unfairness? It feels like he's rewarding unequal work with equal pay. And that question, that's our key. It's what's going to unlock the real meaning of this whole thing. All right, to figure this out, we have to do a little detective work. It's like peeling an onion. You see, this story didn't just pop up randomly. Jesus told it as a direct answer to a conversation he was having just moments before. And in this case, the context? Well, it's everything. So what was that conversation? Well, right before our story, this rich young guy comes up to Jesus and asks, "What good thing must I do to get eternal life?" See that word? Do. You can hear the mindset, can't you? It's totally transactional. It's all about what do I have to do to earn this? It's a performance-based way of thinking. And if that wasn't clear enough, Peter jumps in right after the rich guy leaves, and he basically asks the same question. He says, "Hey, look at us. We've left everything to follow you. So, what's in it for us? What do we get?" It's that exact same transactional mindset. We put in the work, what's our reward? And that question is the perfect setup for the story Jesus is about to tell. So you see, Jesus gets that the real issue here isn't about money or who gets what reward. The problem is much deeper. It's a problem of perception. It's about the very lens they're using to look at the world and at God. And this is where the story takes a massive turn. Let's ask again, was the problem really injustice? Were those first workers treated unfairly? We already know the answer is no. They got exactly what they agreed to. The real problem, the thing that made them so angry, was seeing the boss be ridiculously generous to someone else. Think about that. Their complaint wasn't about injustice. It was about generosity. Okay, and this next part is where it all clicks. The landowner's final question to the grumblers is, translated literally from the Greek, "Is your eye evil because I am good?" Now, this phrase, the evil eye, or ayin ra in Hebrew, is a huge cultural concept. It has nothing to do with magic or curses. It's an idiom for a specific attitude, a stingy, greedy spirit that just can't handle it when someone else gets a lucky break. So let's put it side by side. What they said was, "This is unfair." It sounds like a demand for justice. But what they really meant, when you understand this evil eye idea, was, "We hate that you were so generous to those other guys." Their problem wasn't their own paycheck. Their problem was envy. And with that, we can peel back the final layer of the onion. It becomes obvious that this story isn't a business school case study on how to run a vineyard. No way. Jesus is using this whole scenario to show us that the economy of God's kingdom is, well, it's just completely different. It runs on a totally different kind of currency. So if the kingdom of heaven doesn't run on our normal you get what you earn logic, then what's the deal? What's the actual currency being traded here? It's mercy. Simple as that. The real currency of the kingdom is mercy. The landowner in the story isn't a bad businessman who can't do math. He's a picture of God who gives out this radical, over-the-top mercy, not based on what anyone has earned or deserves, but simply because that's who he is. He's generous. And this idea wasn't brand new to Jesus' listeners. It has deep, deep roots in the Old Testament idea of Jubilee. You might remember it as the year of the Lord's favor. It was this incredible concept where every 50 years, all debts were canceled, slaves were set free. Society basically got a hard reset based on grace. So when the landowner gives a full day's wage, you could almost call it a double portion, to those last workers, he's tapping into that same logic of radical, system-flipping generosity. Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What's the takeaway? This story is a direct challenge to us. It's asking us to completely shift our perspective, to move away from a world obsessed with fairness and what we've earned, and toward a world that's defined by radical generosity. And you can really see the two different ways of looking at the world here. On one hand, you have the evil eye. This is a scarcity mindset. It's always measuring, always comparing, always asking Peter's question, yeah, but what about me? Then you have the good eye. This is an abundance mindset. It's focused on grace, and it's genuinely happy when other people get blessed. It asks a totally different question. How can everyone get in on this goodness? And the landowner's final question just nails it, doesn't it? He flips it right back on them. He's essentially saying, the problem isn't me. The problem is you. Are you really going to be bitter because I decided to be generous? It's such a powerful, convicting question. Which leaves us with a pretty tough question to chew on, doesn't it? We spend so much of our lives, so much energy, demanding fairness, keeping score, and looking over our shoulder to see what everyone else is getting. But what if the kingdom Jesus is talking about isn't built on fairness at all? What if its very foundation is something far more wild, something like radical, scandalous, world-altering generosity?